Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Be the Media Huntington. Tonight is Wednesday, January 22nd. My name is Jenny Lee, and I have with me Miss Dana
Hi, guys.
and Miss Lisa,
Hi, everyone.
who's right side up funny. Last week, we had
Rotate.
very simple. I know, like you signed off and you're like, oh, it's a rotate button. Oh, I loved it though. It was awesome because the world truly was upside down, and it still remains to be a bit topsy-turvy. I think everybody's attention is really focused on the impeachment of the president, but we're going to bring you some content that's more related to give you a break from that and bring you more stuff that's more relatable, that's good. There's a lot going on in Huntington as well as the state of New York.
Yep.
So, gosh, where do we even start? There were earthquakes in, let's keep it local. There were earthquakes in Puerto Rico. But there were earthquakes in Puerto Rico, and they found a lot of the hurricane supplies that were expired because they were in the warehouse that was
2 years.
2 years. And I'm bringing this up because our governor is there. Our governor is in Puerto Rico. He took some of the resources of ours here to go help with the efforts of the earthquake relief. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if it's the Puerto Rican vote. I don't know why.
What did you say? The Puerto
Rican vote. Well, it's Puerto Rico, so it'd be the Puerto Rican vote, right? So I don't know what he's thinking. Like, what is he doing? He's the governor of New York. I don't know why he keeps going to Puerto Rico. Maybe he needs to move there and run for one of their 56 governorships that they have. They have 56 governors, so he would truly stand out. But that's our governor, and they have been passing some really crazy stuff. Are you guys familiar with the because we're keeping it so local, are you guys familiar with what's going on in China, Hong Kong?
I just found out today. Yeah, with this new
It's
disease,
the
quarantine.
the coronavirus. But it didn't come from beer. The coronavirus, there's 4 people that are sick. Nobody has died. Has made its way over to Washington State. We have our very first
9 people died from it.
I didn't hear anybody died. 4 people were sick, and they were quarantining them.
Oh, you mean in the United States or just?
Oh, nobody's died here. We have one person sick. No, I'm talking about over there. And Mary and I were discussing it last night, and it's interesting because this is like a flu-like thing that was present in animals, mostly chickens, and it has evolved into something that can now be caught by humans. So they don't know what to do with it. I know that they have 8 million people in the town, I think it's Coang, I may have that name wrong, that are currently under quarantine. And I bring up the quarantine for...
Didn't they just, is this the same one that I heard they were taking people off airplanes? Is this the same one?
Oh yeah, I mean, if you look up the coronavirus.
I'm doing that now. Go ahead.
Okay, good. Okay, she's going to look that up. Yay, I love the double duty. All right, so Dana's going to check it out and see how many actually have died. I heard 4 people got sick. I heard no deaths yet. But we have 8 million people who are being quarantined against their will because of it.
Okay, here it goes. It says, doctors have been using a robot to treat the first person known to have been admitted to the hospital in the U.S. with a new strain of coronavirus as part of the efforts to prevent the spread of the disease, which has killed at least 17 people in China and infected hundreds more.
17 killed. Boy, I didn't get that up.
Maybe quarantine isn't so crazy then.
Well, they've been walking around in masks for as long as I can remember over there.
True.
They said that this is something similar to SARS that we got from China before.
Where did you get that from? I'm just curious. I always want to know the publication.
The statistics I just gave you?
Yeah.
Washington State.
No. Who?
The Guardian. I'm sorry?
The Guardian?
Yes.
Okay. I just like to know where the information came from.
That's fine.
Because if anybody ever comes back and says, no, wait, it was the Guardian. It was the Guardian.
I'm fine with that as well. That's okay.
So the reason we bring up this China thing is, have you guys read the bill? I'm going to go to it. The A099 law that they are looking to pass
I just heard about it about an hour ago. That's it.
from me, right?
Yep.
I hate when that happens. All right, so I hate when that happens because it bothers me that the information isn't out there. Here, I got it.
Hold on, this is another one too. It says more than 500 people have been sickened and 17 have died since the start of the month. And this is coming directly from NBC News.
Wow,
Okay.
that's scary
Right.
stuff.
17 seems to be consistent.
Yeah,
What's the date on that?
2 hours ago.
Oh, good. That's pretty current. Okay. So right now, we have Assembly Bill number A99. And this is in the Assembly in New York State, on top of all those other vaccination mandates and stuff that they've got coming down the pike. And this relates to the removal of cases, contacts, and carriers of communicable diseases that are potentially dangerous to the public health. This basically gives the governor the discretion to quarantine you against your will if he feels that whatever you have in any way, shape, or form, if you may be a danger to society, they can remove you from society and detain you permanently against your will and without legal counsel or anything else.
I thought that wasn't allowed anymore.
No, well, a lot of things weren't. I mean, I said once, there's nothing holding them back. You got the Democrats own the House, they own the Senate in New York, and we're seeing what's going on. So this is real. You can go and you can Google the New York State Senate A99, and you can read this whole thing if you want in your own terms. But it is real, and that's one of the reasons why I bring up the whole China thing and all
What
the
about our
other.
southern borders? What about diseases that are coming across our southern borders?
No,
We're
they're all
definitely not allowed to touch any of that.
No, they're good. All they're good. It's all good.
This is so stupid. This doesn't even make any sense to me.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah.
I just keep my mouth shut.
Well, I think it's interesting, like, because people who just might have the sniffles, right? And the governor, and what if he has a political beef with you? So now he's going to detain you. It could be used between this and the red flag laws and everything else. We are just losing
know what
our
that is.
freedom. We are completely losing our freedom here in New York State.
So you don't think they should quarantine people?
I don't think that they should be given this much. No, I don't. I don't feel that way. I think that that's a blatant abuse of your rights as a citizen to be held illegally against your will without being charged for an actual crime. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, I don't catch your disease, so I didn't go to China, and I don't want you spreading it to me or my family. You would have to be quarantined. I'm all for that, especially if you're coming from the area that is 17 people have already died. I'm okay with that type of quarantine.
Yeah, but we're talking about two different things here. I brought the bill up because this is an issue and it's interesting, okay? But this quarantine doesn't just apply to mysterious diseases that are suddenly popping out from China. This applies to anything. So if the governor decides that the flu levels are at a high enough level, he can order a mass, where he could order that we're under a mass quarantine.
And put us in cages?
Right, and this is without being charged for anything. So I think that it's just a blatant abuse of your civil liberties and your rights as a citizen.
I think there's a lot of ifs that go on. Because you're saying if. We don't know if he's going to do that. However, we do know that there's a current disease that's going around right now, and we need to protect America and Americans from getting whatever it is that they have. So I can't go by what if. I'm going to go by what's happening right now. He's not.
This was introduced though on January 9th, which was way before anyone even heard of the coronavirus.
I'm not, I'd have to research that because I'm almost positive that's when they heard of it, but I think they took some time because they didn't want to have panic, but they knew about it. Regardless of what the date was, regardless of what may happen, I am okay with quarantine people right now to keep it under wraps.
I'm not okay with it giving the government that much power over us to hold us against our will without being charged for a crime. That's just how I feel about it. I think it's too big of a gray area. I mean, I understand that you're saying that you don't want to get sick, you don't want to get sick, but at what point do you know that it's not being, like when the measles outbreak hit, right? It was such an outbreak. It was like 2, 3 cases or something like that. They used that. There was a lot of push into the media to get them to pass the mandated vaccine that removed the religious exemption. And now that the religious exemption is gone, they're starting to pile in with more mandated vaccines, some that are outright dangerous. So we don't know. And they have shown they will take that slippery slope when it comes to that. They will.
And if that time comes when they start trying to do those type of things, then we could take action. In regards to the
you got no guns either.
No, they haven't taken that away. I'm not for the what ifs. I'm for what is factual, what is going on right now, and what we can stop right now.
There's a bill right now making its way through the state assembly, getting voted on, that will quarantine you with no specific reason. It's at their discretion, and that's without you being charged for any crime. So basically they have the right to take you and put you into a room, which someone could call a jail, right?
It's a room. We don't know.
We don't know where they're going to put us, but they have but quarantine. Okay, they have the right to remove you against your will and without a trial and without a crime being committed because they felt that you were a threat. I feel it's too gray.
I'm sure there are people on both sides. I'm sure there are people that
getting medical treatment, right?
And I'm sure there's people that feel like me. I don't want to be sick.
Oh, I gotta tell you, there's a lot of people that operate in that because I've watched some of the most reported posts that I deal with on Parents of Huntington are the vaccination posts. I have to tell you, they are the one that bring out the most ugly in people. And it's amazing how much control people are willing to exert over other people because they themselves are just scared of getting sick. And they've been trained to believe that, your body naturally fights some of these things off. Yes, vaccinations are good. My kids are vaccinated. I'm not an anti-vaccination person, but I am pro-freedom and I am pro-choice. And I think that that's just starting to cross a really fine line there.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I'm totally different. I believe that if you have to be quarantined, you should be quarantined. I'm vaccinated. All of my children are vaccinated. I will not give them certain vaccines that I don't think that, I'll give them the regular mandated vaccines. If it goes out of control, then at that point in time, when they try to do that, I'll address it. But right now, no, I give them the vaccines that they need. They've never had chickenpox, measles, mumps, none of that. And we thought it was removed, but here the measles popped right back up. So I'm okay with the vaccine. And I'm okay with quarantining people, especially if you're coming from another country that has the disease and you bringing it here. I'm okay with that. All the other what ifs, I can't.
I want you to read the bill when you get a chance, but I wanted to also at least make sure everybody was aware that it's there.
Yeah, regardless of what it says, I'm still gonna feel the same way. I'll read it, but I'm firm on that. I don't, we should stop people from coming in that have things that can harm us.
Well, this bill doesn't relate to stopping people. That's people are checked when they're coming from other countries. And that's something that already happens at the airports. This is about citizens, legal citizens, any illegal ones, whoever's in the country right now, whoever's in New York State, that if the governor or the government feels that you are a threat to public health, and that threat isn't defined in the bill, it's up to their discretion.
How would they know though?
Quarantined.
How would they know?
Too many things.
It's just there's too much of a gray area. So the bill exists, and I feel like people need to know about it. And I'm sure we're all going to feel differently about it, but you should read it first to see what's in it. But I think one of those things, all the mandates and stuff, is really what's making people are leaving New York for a reason. Like running out of New York for a reason.
Yep.
They're trying to control every aspect of our lives. Okay, on to this other stuff. I know I'm going to jump around. That's totally not even have anything to do with disease or sickness or disgusting yucks. Long Island is unaffordable. We hear it all the time. One of my most favorite things Dana ever said to me long time ago, we were on my back porch and we were talking about affordable housing. And you had said, affordable housing is housing you can afford. I love that. It just always stayed with me. So anyways, one of our favorite we're always stalking these, well, I am, you guys aren't. I'm usually doing the live feeds. I don't want anybody to think you guys are also as crazy as I am. So this is, I wanted to do this last week, but we ran out of time because everything was upside down. But this is the lofts at 30 Stewart, and they just hit the market. And it's interesting. So there's 12 total units.
What in Bob's garage am I reading? Does that say $4,600 a month?
Yes,
for
it
two
does.
bedrooms. For two bedrooms.
No.
Yes, it does.
My
One
mortgage
bedroom.
is less than the first one.
Yes.
Less.
All the utilities less. $3,850 a month for a one bedroom.
Insane.
And two bedrooms starting at $4,650. I missed the one picture. I should have grabbed it before I came. But they have a beautiful view of AMC Theater. One of them has a beautiful, no, I'm sorry, they have the view of the graffiti work that's soon going to be the Huntington Hotel one day. It's so funny. But yeah, 8 2-bed, 2-bath, 2 1-bed, 1-bath, and 2 1-bed, 1.5 bath. And you don't own anything when you're done because you're renting.
You're throwing that money in the garbage can.
Good night.
Nice to know. Nice to know you have that.
What?
Is that, do you see why I wanted to go back and cover that? That's insane.
The 3,000. I have 6 bedrooms in my home, and my mortgage is not that much.
No, young people that are just starting out, they don't want a big house with all that maintenance, Dina. They want to pay every single dime and not have anything to show for it in this really expensive apartment because it's right in the middle of the village.
I can't get over $4,600. I can't get over that.
That's so stupid.
I hope it
I can't
includes
even believe
utility.
that.
That
So
is
incredible.
bananas.
Yeah.
Who? I can't even talk. I can't even talk. I'm like, what? So I'm not gonna buy a house. I don't want, even if it's a little tiny house. I'm gonna work. I'm gonna do whatever it is I have to do, and I'm gonna pay either $3,800 or $4,600 just to say that I live where I live, and so I could look at the AMC movie theater.
Yeah,
I got it.
yeah,
I think
I have no parking.
Yeah, no, I forgot about that. No parking. That's an excellent deal. Don't you think?
yes. And it's probably a teeny tiny little shoebox too on top of it.
This is not Manhattan.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not Manhattan. It's not even close to Manhattan.
Oh, that's what they want.
Whatever happened with that one building where they were going to build a bar on top of the roof?
The rooftop
Right?
bar.
That was the one that had the water level problems. The big green, well, it's still got the old pressure, the green board up, right?
Right, but that's not going anywhere, I guess.
No. I'm on. Thanks.
You would have the same problem at the same exact time, Jenny. The same exact time.
It's
They
just
know we do the show every Wednesday, and they come in and they start talking.
It's just remarkable. Hi, can you find my sock? No, I can't find my socks. It's been an ongoing issue my whole life.
This one, he just wakes up, where are my glasses? I don't wear glasses. How would I know?
I don't know where your stuff is. I've got enough going on. So there's another development that's going to the ZBA tomorrow. There's a lot going on tomorrow, including the trial of Chad Lupernacher. We'll get into that in a second. Just want to cover some of the development around town. So there is a ZBA town hall meeting, and I'm going to bring you there as best I can. So this is the Cold Spring Harbor train station.
Yeah.
Okay. Over here, when you drive by the train station, over in this area, do you remember how you drive by the tennis courts
Mm-hmm.
that are grown with all
Yes.
okay, so it's 3.96 acres there, and they want to put an assisted living facility. So there's a ZBA meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. at Town Hall. They will forever change precedents because right now there's the minimum lot size for an assisted living facility is 5 acres. This lot size is only 3.96 acres. And so that will forever change the code. It will set precedent saying now assisted living facilities can be built on smaller than 5 acres. I don't know why they just don't change the laws to fit all the type of development that they want to do instead of piecemeal spot zoning like they do. So we'll find out what happens with that. Some of the big news, I did the lofts. Some of the big news was Northport Middle School.
Oh, yeah.
Northport Middle School.
And I still can't even believe that there's people on my Facebook page who were saying, oh my God, such a sad day. My children are devastated. They're going to miss some of their friends. They're going to, how about they'll have
A life.
clean
They'll-
air to breathe and they'll be alive and they won't be getting cancer. I mean,
That's always a good.
snap
That's
the
always
hell
good.
out of it. Oh, they're whining and whining. I don't believe all the hype. I don't believe this. I don't believe that.
I think it's important to note that Jean
What the
Cook
hell's wrong
was
with
the
them?
only town council member that put this up. Oh, I had a follow-up too I wanted to do, that we talked about briefly. Last week, we talked about Josh Price not getting the position for the judge thingy. What I didn't pick up because I didn't watch the whole town board meeting like I should have done and done my due diligence. But he was actually fired, completely fired. Apparently Jean put up a resolution.
Huh? Wait, I'm sorry. I didn't hear that last part. Go again.
He was fired. Jean put up a resolution and he got
Doesn't have a job fired, or
fired from town hall. Josh Price.
like the hatchet man that he was, and he was so proud he was firing other people fired.
Hatchet man got hatchet.
Hatched.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hatchet man was hatcheted. So I wanted to follow up because we didn't completely do the rest of that. And I felt like we owed it because we had just said, oh yeah, he didn't get the job. He wanted to, be the guy that's in charge of all the private court stuff at town hall because they're doing their own little court thingy. So not only did he not get voted out for that, but they turned around and fired him. It just,
Why
oh
did-
my
Why
God.
did
Why
I would-
though?
laugh? But why did he get fired?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Jean's voting with the Democrats now. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I mean, because he voted with, right? He voted with the vote that was on it was with Mark Cuthbertson and Joan Circle.
To fire him?
Yes, it fired.
Damn.
Because it was Ed Smith
Mhm.
and Chad Lupanacci were the only ones that voted for him, and the other 3 voted against. And then Gene introduced the resolution. He goes, and we're going to get rid of you altogether.
Wow.
Is he still in charge of the Republican committee now?
He was never in charge of the Republican committee. Tony's still there.
Good luck for, well, yeah, please. He's leading from behind. Good luck with Gene getting their backing for anything. I just don't think that's going to happen now. My God, I don't think he'll get their endorsement.
Wow.
Those days are pretty much over if that's the case.
Maybe the Democrats will start endorsing him now. That'll be different.
They always doing something different. So
Always something different. So another thing that's happening tomorrow. Now, I want to highlight a few things before we get into this. So let me go ahead and set that up. And I mean, if you want to go ahead and bash Jean, you can. just fill some air while I find this other stuff.
I don't ever agree on bashing people, but I mean, that was pretty silly for them to put him up for a resolution because Joan and Mark would not vote for him, and him and Jean have bad blood. So what did he think was going to happen?
I have no
Sound like a little bit of a setup with a little sting at the end of it.
But I still don't understand why he was fired. Like, what did he do that
Well,
he?
you don't have to do anything. Nick didn't do anything either. And we're about to cover some of his stuff a little. All right. I think the way I really want to cover this right now is to first touch on one of my biggest pet peeves, which is censorship. I think that's probably the best way to do this. Let me go to these. All right, so I was trolling the internet.
Woo! God.
Trolling the internet, which I do. I'm a troller. And because I'm banned from a lot of the local pages.
Yeah, you have to be a troller when you
I
want
have to
find
troll.
out what's going on, because
I have to find out what people are thinking, what's the pulse of what's going on. So somebody had posted so Nick from the Huntingtonian had put up the trial conference for tomorrow for Chad, which we're going to get into in a little bit. And somebody had posted the Huntingtonian article, which, by the way, did link to the original documents. But I want you to see the new discretion being practiced now at Huntington Matters. Apparently, June was out for a while, and then she had death in the family, and then she came back, and the first thing she needed to do was make sure that they're censoring enough their people. So Michael Paul had posted this Huntingtonian article, and he wanted to know why his post was removed. Why did you take down the Huntingtonian article? So June wrote here, yes, our executive board took issue with the editorial portion at the end of the Huntingtonian article and its one-sided nature. We chose instead to use one of the original press conferences articles that featured more comprehensive coverage and provide access to the original court documents. So I guess their executive board now meets in live time to decide what type of discretion needs to be removed when it comes to what news articles people choose to post to have conversations about.
I thought that's one-sided.
That is one-sided. That's complete
Oh,
sense.
but they don't like one-sided.
No, and I got to tell you, this seems to be the theme. Okay, so Huntington Voices is also removing posts, and this one, I love your laughy face here, Lisa. Know that I'm always going to show these. Here, I'm gonna put one too. So this poor woman named Heather.
The dork.
She says, so my post was removed. I think the impeachment of a president affects all politics, even local. Now, the reason I'm bringing up Huntington Voices in the context of speaking of Chad Lupinacci's trial is because there was a rumor that he had settled. Do you remember that? It was right around the election time. They had said, oh, Chad settled that. He's admitting his guilt. He went and said, so I needed to go find out where that was coming from. And sure as shit, guess one of our favorite posters, David Brown, his wife works at Town Hall, Kim. She used to be a Board of Ed person for Huntington. Why is, now this 7 weeks ago, you see the little 7W down here? That indicates it was posted 7 weeks ago. Why is Chad Lupinacci still supervisor? Why aren't the Democrats focusing their efforts on him to resign, being he settled his case out of court?
Wow.
Well, I'm here to tell you that that's how fake news and rumors are spread, and he should lose any credibility he has left at this point for starting that rumor, and I take great pleasure in highlighting it.
That's a liberal schmear campaign, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's kind of
Out of Pelosi's book.
That's what they do. So wait, I started it right here. Okay, so the article that June would not allow to be posted because it was so one-sided, she felt, I'm going to highlight.
Oh my God. It has to be my side or nobody's side.
You two, are you okay? The Huntington disease is still going around. Okay, so this, there's a trial tomorrow. We're still trying to see if we can get somebody there. I'm down a car and we got other stuff going on with our people. Trial conference to start tomorrow, Thursday, January 23rd, 2020, for sexual assault and other allegations against Huntington's town supervisor, Chad Lupinacci, on a December 5th, 2017 business trip to Albany. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he basically goes through, does this whole thing, and then brings up this, the news
State Assembly.
conference. I'll highlight this one real quick so that you can see, because this was really some of the only media they got out there.
We begin tonight with a civil lawsuit filed against the Huntington town supervisor.
He's accused of forcibly touching a former staff member.
News 12 Long Island's Rich Baratti has the story.
Chad, can you respond to the allegations by Mr. Finnegan? Chad, any comment? Huntington Town Supervisor
Josh.
Chad Lupinacci bolted for the exit this afternoon as we
Who's Josh?
tried to ask him about accusations leveled against him less than an hour earlier by a former staffer.
And in December of 2017, Huntington Town Supervisor, my then boss in the New York State Assembly, sexually assaulted me.
2.5 miles away from Town Hall, former Lupinacci staffer and advisor Brian Finnegan accused the town supervisor of sexual assault. Finnegan says it happened in December of last year. Then Assemblyman Lupinacci had just been elected to lead the town of Huntington. In a suit filed in Suffolk County Supreme Court, Finnegan says he and Lupinacci traveled to Albany to clear out the assemblyman's office. He says Lupinacci insisted they share a hotel room due to budget constraints, so they did. That's when Finnegan says he was attacked.
There, this predator was able to take advantage of me
You okay?
and perform forcible, non-consensual, and unwanted sexual acts on me in the middle of the night while I was sleeping.
Finnegan says he was verbally abused by his boss for years, but after the alleged physical attack, he says he resigned his position with the assemblyman and turned down a job offer for a position he coveted, working as an executive assistant and senior advisor to the Huntington Town Supervisor. But he says others who knew of the attack continue to work for the town in the Lupinacci administration. As for why Finnegan never filed criminal charges, his attorney, Arthur Idala, says his client was hoping it wouldn't come to any of this.
And it's no secret, we're not running from it. We tried to work this out with him, with his attorneys. We tried to have him come to the table and say, I'm sorry, I'm suffering from something. I'm going to get help. I'm going to fix this.
All right, so I'm going to pause
How
it.
do you know you were sexually attacked if you were sleeping?
Well, he woke up and
You were sleeping.
Well, so if you read, it's actually an incredible read.
No, I did read it. I read it actually many times.
Yeah. So let's also, it's funny, June was saying it didn't link to the thing. You can clearly see it links to the thing here.
Yep.
And the opinion is clearly highlighted, the opinion. So I'm going to read Nick's opinion piece because I think it's actually important.
You mean the thing where it says opinion?
Opinion. He
Right.
lays out the facts and then he writes opinion because this was really bothering him. If any one of these allegations is true, even one, Supervisor Lupinacci should not be in office and all Huntingtonians should be very, very upset. If Finnegan was a woman, then groups would have called for his removal. And that's true in the age of Me Too. But because Finnegan is a man, it's okay. There seems to be a double standard when sexual assault harassment happens to a man, even if it's man to man. So I appreciate he said this is his opinion, but all the information is here. And I really think that, listen, anybody can file a lawsuit.
Right. This is still just a lawsuit. This isn't a conviction.
Right. It's an allegation that needs to be proven true or false in a court of law.
Just like with that dog from the Golden Dolphin.
Right.
This is another clear example. This is an accusation, which is out there. It's not an admission of guilt by Lupinacci if it happened or not. I mean,
and if it did happen, I mean, some of the things that he was saying. Now, this is why I'm saying, put on that Nick opinion for a second. If my dream job is to get involved as a Republican in politics, right? And I want to step in, there's only one avenue for me to do that locally. I can't, it's not my dream. I don't have any other options when you think, unless I'm going to move to another state. I don't have any other options. So if I, as a woman, was being forced by my boss to say, you're going to drink when I'm going to drink, or I wake up and his mouth is around my private parts in the middle of the, there would be a whole different level of outrage out there, because he felt like he had to continue doing this. Now I'm stating that based upon what I read as to what the complaint is. He felt, because people said, well, why did he go back? Why did he go back? Because this was his dream job and that's what he wanted. On the other end, Chad's being accused of something that I don't see how they can prove this. What do you really have as far as physical evidence goes? You have that you both stayed in the same hotel, but you know, on the other hand, they're going to be able to prove that you did go back. But I can see, because I've been pressured as a woman. I grew up having my knee grabbed by my boss or other things. They would make comments, and that became normal to us as women. That was just part of what we do. You know what I mean?
I was a truck driver. I know exactly what you mean.
I know exactly what I'm talking about. There's always been a pervasive level of, you know, just sexual innuendos and that kind of thing. So I don't know if people know when they are crossing the line, or what he felt was crossing the line, or how uncomfortable he felt, but it's going to come down to, what can you actually prove? And then there's going to be a boatload of damage after. So if true, I feel so
it's why, you know, why are you coming forward? Is there any alternative, you know, any ulterior motives? You know, how
it could
did this
go either
really
way.
happen? Do you have proof, or are you just making, or is this just a big, you know, schmear, you know,
It could be anything. And it
damage
came
him
out,
forever with your accusations?
this
True or
came out
not
right
true.
after Chad's mom died too. It was
Right.
last year.
Right, I remember.
Well, first of all, I don't know where anyone got that this was Brian's dream job and this was his only way of getting into politics. He is well vested. He comes from a very prominent family, and he could pretty much get a job wherever he wants, because he has somebody in the White House right now. That's number one. Number two, these are, like you said, Lisa, these are all allegations. Now, I have a lot of respect for Nick. I do value his opinion, but let's take it for what it is. Nick was one of Jean's friends. Jean can't stand Chad. So I would be a little bit naive to think that some of that bias wasn't in the opinion. Be that as it may, for me, there's a lot of loopholes in Brian's story. That's number one. Number two, Chad hasn't said anything, so I don't know who the victim is. And Lisa, I'm glad you brought up the point about the dog. They tore that man down for that golden dolphin and ruined his business, ruined his employees' employment, all for nothing because of speculation.
Yep.
Now, if something happened to Brian, I am sorry that happened, and that is unfortunate.
Right.
However, if that did not happen, you have to feel sorry for Chad, because now you've drugged my name through the mud, and now bringing up sexual allegations, and it's of the same sex, and it's a lot of damage either way.
Yeah.
People are too quick to judge. People are basing their opinion on how he is as a political person and not separating the facts that have been put in front of us to just judge him on what is there. And that's what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
A lot of people can't separate the two. Granted, if it was a woman, things would be a lot different, but it is what it is. Everybody doesn't get a fair shot, because if it was a woman, sometimes it would not have even gotten to this place because people don't believe us.
Yep.
So we wouldn't even have gotten it that far.
Mm-hmm.
So I think people need to stop with the accusations, wait till the other side comes out, see what happens, and then go from there. Because you're going to tell me Brian was an athlete. He was very, he wasn't like a meek person. You mean to tell me if somebody touched you more than once, you can't forcibly stop them? And then there's something in it that said he grabbed Chad by the throat. Chad is like 19 feet tall.
They're both very strong men. They're both very, very big.
How are you grabbing think about it. If I'm way taller than you, how am I grabbing your neck? Am I on your tippy toes?
Right, but he was sleeping too.
No,
I'm kidding. I was like, wait a minute.
I'm
Being facetious.
So I'm
Do you
like,
recall, do you ever recall a case like this of man on man accused sexual assault in this manner?
No, but you know what? I mean, think about the last 3 years and where this country is, and people accusing somebody of sexual assault from 37 years ago to maybe it's just political theater.
Yes,
Maybe you just want to screw somebody over.
it's
It's
become a
not
tool.
literally. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I know all about sexual assault and bad things happening, and I wouldn't wish it on my enemy. But I don't know. There's just so much bull crap out there. These are two guys. One is 19 feet tall, and the other one, like you said, is
18 and a
athletic.
half feet.
no,
One is sleeping. One is not sleeping. And you're going to tell me? And apparently there was like some bad blood there.
and then also in the
Maybe he
article,
didn't get the job he wanted. Maybe he wanted more and more and more and more. And
So many variables, but it's going to come down to what can be proved in court. So I think it's going to be a circus there. I think we're going to hear about this a lot.
it seems like it's
And
already a circus. The Democrats, why is he still there?
and
The other
yeah,
side, blah 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 blah.
how do they make what gives them the right to
Right.
tell us that Mark needed to resign if that's the case, because we have proof that he's done horrible things.
Yeah,
But
19 years ago.
also look into the article that came out recently from the Huntingtonian. It says that something sexually transpired in the room. Brian fixed himself and went back to sleep. And then that's when he felt his hand go in the sheet. So I don't know about you, but if I sleep in the room with someone in general that is not my partner, I'm not going to be 100% sleep unless like my best friend. Okay. So I'm already going to be on heightened alert. So if you woke me up the first time, I'm not going back to sleep again so you can touch me again.
yeah,
I'm not doing that. I will be up all night with no dose. Like,
yeah, I don't want to hear about budget restraints. I'm going to get my own room and I'm going to pay for it if I really want to be there.
Bye.
I mean, that's what I would do. But again,
right.
I mean, I don't mean to cast the judgment on it because we would all do something differently based upon being in the situation. And we don't know what really happened. We really don't. It's going to come down to what can you prove? The drink.
Maybe when Chad became superintendent, I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah, supervisor. Maybe this Brian wanted more. Maybe he didn't get it.
And
There's
maybe
so many
Chad
maybes.
wanted more and he didn't get it. I mean, it could be a case of either or. Maybe Chad got different vibes from Brian. Maybe.
And Brian wanted a particular job that what Chad had to fill it. People don't understand when you go through these things, you have to go through boards and it has to be passed, even though he wants to appoint you, he still has things he has to do. So
Right.
The job that he was requesting was not going to pass it was only going to go but so far. And Brian didn't like that. So now it makes you think. It makes you think, oh, are you angry because you didn't get the job you wanted? Or did this really?
And in that little 3-minute blurb, he said he called him a predator. Wow.
You
now
can't
he's a
use-
predator. You were his best friend. Now he's a predator. That sounds so lawyered up. That sounds so theatrical.
They use words to damage because when you're a political person, we could say whatever we want and it could be a complete lie.
Oh, well, that's why I say with the drinking, like at first it was just a sexual assault thing. But now when I was trolling all the other boards, I've learned that there was also, he made him drink on occasions and said, when the supervisor tells you to get him a drink, you get the supervisor a drink. So this is all really stuff. I mean, it's all stuff you can't prove. So why is it being brought up? And it's really only to really paint Chad as an alcoholic and a predator. And those are the words that they're using. And these are all things, I mean, we don't have that. And it's civil court. You may not get that proof and it may get settled and you'll never know the terms of the settlement or the case.
But the thing is this.
They are just done.
For those of us who have been around the supervisor personally, and if he takes a drink or two or whatever the case may be, and he's very relaxed, I can honestly say I've never witnessed him making someone drink anything ever. And I've also been in close proximity with him and Brian, and it was never a vibe of being uncomfortable. So, Jenny, you drink. Lisa, you drink. I don't drink.
You can't force
you can't
somebody
force
to drink.
someone to do it. So for all the things that he may say, Chad will have people to say, well, we went out with him. We never saw that. And that's not, and I'm not saying that didn't happen, but like you said, it's kind of hard to prove. And we've seen Brian engaged, in drinking with him before. So it's like,
and there's all sorts of people that will start now to say, oh yeah, I see Chad, he drinks all the time and he's always drinking. So that I think they're just really going for the public opinion, because they have, I mean, this is basically what we're seeing on the national spotlight as well. Guilty in the public opinion. That's what they're going for. They need the damage to be political damage to take out an opponent prior to he's coming up for re-election, isn't he?
next year, yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's timed perfectly.
Yep.
I just think that it's unfortunate. I think that there's no winners in this case.
None. It's
And that you have people like on the Huntington Voices that are so quick to damn the man because of his political stance that they're being blinded. I used to argue back and forth on there, but I don't anymore. Someone said, well, can you take the t-shirt in for proof? What?
It's the blue dress. It's the Monica Lewinsky blue dress.
Nobody got there's no t-shirt.
Right.
The t-shirt Brian had, and how do we know when that happened? We don't
know. There was no settlement either, but that didn't stop them from maintaining that lie for the last 2 months.
I don't. Go ahead.
And that came from his. Oh, please! It's just so frustrating because we all know who David is. We all know who David Brown is.
I think that people, they don't realize the words that they say.
Sorry.
Somebody breaking in? Go the other way.
Oh, look, she just jumped in the lake. Look at that. That is just
she disappeared.
That's TV magic.
I just think that, they run quickly without, depending upon who it is, they don't wait for the information. They just go and run with it. And because they have such a strong disdain for his political views and how he's done things, they're too blinded to see the facts of what the situation is. Right. We haven't heard anything from Chad. We don't know what his role is. There's a reason why he hasn't said anything.
Right.
So until we hear his side,
I wouldn't say anything either. If you're accused of something that's been filed in a court, your attorney should be doing all your talking.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to incriminate myself and be like, yeah, we went out in the week. No.
Yeah, let me go out and give 167 interviews. We'll have him on and he can explain to us and he could prove his innocence. What kind of shit is that? That's not how things work in our country.
Yep.
No, and if he's able to prove that he did do this, then you're gonna have to pony up and pay for the crime.
Yeah, but like you said, how are you? My thing is, how are you gonna prove it? Like,
you don't know what he has.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't know what he has, and I think it would be very embarrassing if a court points that out for him. And it comes to light that maybe he did do this for nefarious purposes. We don't know. We're just right now exploring the many different ways of how it could play out. We're not making any claims as to anything being a fact in any way. We're definitely saying you have the right to innocence until proven guilty, and you don't have to prove that you're innocent. They have to prove that you committed this crime against them. Right. That's how it works.
And that's why it's too many people are quick to judge and we don't have the facts, and coming from somebody who's Black, I already know how it is to be accused of something or know someone who's accused of something and they don't have any information correct and you still go to jail. Look at all the people that were released because of DNA, thank God, but they spent how many years in jail just because of someone's accusation. Mm-hmm. So we learn at a very early age, you don't judge until you have all the facts. And right now, we don't have them. So we
And
don't know.
unless you're sitting in the jury box, guess what? You don't get a
We
vote
don't
on
know.
judging. You don't get a vote on judging. They do.
Yeah, so it's like, let's let the trial play out. Let's get correct information, and then we can make a solid, conclusion based off the information. Because if I had to go on the story that he put out there, there's too many loopholes in there. He's not going to prove anything. There's way too many loopholes, and then that just becomes he say, she say. That's it.
And not for nothing, you can have what I've learned, sadly, you can have something so tight, right? And you could have all the facts on your side. You could have all sorts of evidence. You could have all sorts of other things. But if you don't meet the established criteria, right? Or there could be a loophole of something that you had all the truth on your side. You had all the facts on your side. You proved your case. But in the end, it got thrown out because you didn't meet the 3 categories of what needed to be met for that to be proven to be an actual crime in that criteria, because that's how the laws are set up now.
And that's that, it's, again, the only thing I can say is that there's no winners here. There are no winners here. And regardless of what the outcome is, it is not going to be pleasant. And my concern is just like with the Me Too movement, and I'm please, I don't want anyone to try to inbox me and try to tell me I'm victim shaming. But when it comes to the Me Too movement, when you have allegations that are proven to be false, every time you do that, we lose credibility as whomever and it's women. I know it includes men, but women have naturally always had a hard time proving sexual assault. So now that this movement has gained momentum, we need to be more clear, and we need to be a little less judgmental until we have all the facts, because we can lose credibility if it comes out that it's not true.
Can I also say that there are, well, both sides of the coin, there are women, right, who were sexually assaulted, didn't report their crime. They don't help any of us when they do that. And then there are women who have falsely accused men of crimes that they did not commit to get even with them for whatever reasons, which has made it a situation where it's hard to believe women sometimes.
It is. And I
Just
don't
like
think
you were saying, behind it, there's a motivation behind it with, like, even with the Chad and with Brian.
and it's not that we're not victim shaming, so please don't say that.
We're just pointing out the culture.
We're laying it out for what it is. You
Right.
just jump on the bandwagon and be like, oh, he did this, he did that. Well, it's sounds a little suspect to me.
Right.
I don't know.
To me, it's compelling. I don't recall the Lisa, what's wrong with our dogs today? I don't recall the man-on-man sexual abuse crime. Hold on, I'll be right back.
I think it's just, anytime that anyone receives an injustice sexually, man or woman, it should be taken seriously.
Yeah.
But when you come out and it doesn't sound feasible what you're saying, it casts a doubt. And if you have a lot of, he said that all the people around him knew. Well, who were all the people that was around him? And then what exactly did you expect for them to do? Yeah. What was it supposed to be done? If they saw it, what were they supposed to do? Because let's face it, there's a lot of people in this world. If we see something, we're necessarily not going to say anything. We're not going to get involved. That's not our business. So I don't know. I just think it's a little bit interesting is what I'll say.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously we're going to cover it as it falls out. Hopefully it's a quick trial and it's done. And hopefully somebody's court watching. Because I don't want to hear the opinion secondhand. I prefer, like, if somebody's got some transcripts or somebody that we know is there giving, like a synopsis of what they saw, that would be very helpful. Yes. So we're almost at the end. Oh, wow. So let me just go find this one thing I wanted to highlight, because we are going through an impeachment right now. And, you know, I don't want to talk about that other part of it. I just want to highlight our amazing Senator Schumer, who's so great. I gotta show you, this is awesome. So this is how we're gonna end it. This is what we're gonna cover for the impeachment. So this is Schumer last night. And he comes into the room and says hi to somebody. And he goes over to his seat and he tells his imaginary little friend to get the hell out of his seat. And then he sits down, and that poor woman looks up.
The lady behind him.
What's the lady behind him?
Who the hell is he talking to? This is one more time.
She's looking like, what happened? Oh, look at the lady. That's somebody said, look at the blonde haired lady behind him.
Yeah. Oh, get out. This guy.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I think it's time for him to go. Is that incredible? It just.
Anna's.
So bizarre.
I can't believe somebody found that. That is so great. So.
Sorry.
That's okay. We have a couple things we'll be bringing you next week. Northport Middle School is closed. They did close. They're relocating the students, but they still have high levels of, they're doing testing there. So this isn't an over issue. And I am really grateful to Gene Cook for getting involved. He was the only one on a town level, but also to Gorin. Senator Gorin, he got involved and he got the testing done. And he's a Democrat. I don't normally praise them. And I'm still mad at him about what he did with the full-term thing, but I got to give credit where credit's due. He did a really good thing as far as getting the testing going for Northport Middle School. So we're fair. If you do the right thing, we're going to give you praise. And if you don't,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted, and I was supposed to mention this, the NAACP had a Martin Luther King event on Monday, and everyone, all of the council people attended with the exception of Gene. We're not surprised. We had Tom Swazi, Steve Stern, and it was very nice. It was well attended, and this time everybody actually stayed, and it was a really great event. We had a lot of different things, so I just always like to give them, the town board, credit when they do things within the community, for those of them who attended and bothered to call an RSVP, because we had one that didn't. But we are used to him snubbing us, so we didn't really look for him. But we were grateful for the other ones who did attend.
Okay, then. You really don't like him. You're never going to miss an opportunity to bop him on his head.
Never.
My goodness. All right, so that's okay. That's how I felt about Mark Cuthbertson. I eventually got over it. Now I can listen to him without hearing all the nonsense. So we hope everyone enjoyed tonight's Huntington View. And again, we appreciate every one of you viewers who do tune in to spend 1 hour of your life with us. And we hope that we are bringing you good content, and we'll see everyone next week. Have a good evening, everybody.
Guys.
Bye, everyone.